When I started designing, I just wanted peace.
In the North Portland neighborhood of Bridgeton, Jerry Duckett is a bit of a local celebrity for building this wall at the front of his property.
I was trying to make it peace.
But what got him in trouble with the city of Portland was not the wall, but his house. Back in 2007, someone complained and a city inspector found problems with the chimney and gutters and roof and peeling paint.
I was living in North Portland, and I just let it sit for a while. I wasn't living here, and it needed a lot of repairs.
He ignored the issue, exactly the wrong thing to do. The inspector issued fines.
Yes.
When Duckett did not pay, interest, penalties, and fees were added onto the fines, and then they were all rolled into a lien on the property, which means the city would get paid first if the home ever sold. And they just kept growing.
But I kept on getting fines, and they kept on going up. And it was overwhelming for me, and so I couldn't keep it up. So it got up to $230,000.
How much?
$230,000.
Did you believe that number?
I didn't believe it at first, and then they said, they were going to foreclose on my house.
The paint was peeling.
That was the whole thing.
That was it. That was it right there.
Wow.
In Northeast Portland, Bruce Cushman had a similar experience in 2008 in his gentrifying neighborhood. Someone complained the trim on his house looked bad. Inspectors came over and fined him for deteriorating siding, a broken window, and that missing trim paint.
This was the second week of December. And the guy tells me I have to get up on a ladder and paint the fascia on my roof. And I told him, I can't do that.
He said the inspector went away.
Then the fines started. The thing is,
Bruce said he lives on Social Security checks that total $927 a month and could not pay the fines. He was cited again in 2010 for doing renovations without a permit.
The fine starts out at like $500. And then after, I think it was 90 days, it starts doubling.
Just like with Jerry, Bruce's fines and fees and penalties grew and grew. He said he called everyone he could think of, but could not find a way to stop that runaway train. The city put a lien on his house, and the total climbed to $188,000. Recently, Portland City Auditor reviewed the system of complaints and fines and discovered several problems.
And what we found was that neighborhoods with a higher concentration of people of color and neighborhoods where the median home price had increased over the course of 5 years were also the neighborhoods that were most heavily impacted by the complaint-driven process.
The auditors reviewed more than 15,000 property complaints over a 6-year period involving owner-occupied properties. It created these maps to show where the most complaints per 100 households were, which in some areas comes dang close to matching the percents of population that had people of color. But hold on, I can hear you asking what's wrong with trying to improve the look of a neighborhood. I took that very question to the auditors.
I could just see, so if a neighborhood is gentrifying, some people think that's awful and some people think that's good. But either way, I'm sure that there's a certain home value there. You have new people paying higher prices moving in, looking around saying, gosh, that sidewalk is going to trip me when I walk down it, or that house is in disrepair. Is that a bad thing to try and bring up the neighborhood?
The danger of gentrification is when the people who've lived in that neighborhood before all the services came in, before all the investment came in, are priced out and they're displaced out of their neighborhood. That's the danger of gentrification. And the city's complaint-driven property enforcement system is adding to the burden of that onto the homeowners who've already been living in that neighborhood. And that's what we're pointing out. And it doesn't mean that gentrification is bad. It's pointing out that there needs to be some steps taken by the city to ensure that they are not damaging and burdening the people who already live in these neighborhoods.
Another big problem the auditors highlight, the inspectors who check the complaints are paid with money raised by the complaint fines. That's what funds their budget. Some say that gives the department a reason to fine more people.
$208,000. It was a blessing from the city.
There are happy endings for both Jerry and Bruce. Jerry contacted the city's ombudsman in 2019. That's an office that handles complaints against the city. Someone from the city then called to say he'd been picked for a special program to review extreme cases like his, and all but $1,000 in fines were dropped. He connected with other programs that help low-income people fix up their homes, and his is underway. Bruce also found his way to the Ombudsman office and got all but $6,000 erased. He said the remaining amount will disappear when he finishes this, his third and final remodel.
The Bureau of Development Services is in charge of that fine program. They're reviewing the program now to see if the city should even be involved with complaints that don't involve dangers at the property, and if so, how to fund the program in a different way and make sure it does not unfairly focus on the poor and communities of color.